Okay, today we're going to talk about how to escape the program. You probably don't even know you're in it. When I say the program, we're all in the program. But I'm going to talk about the program that you don't even realize you're in. And those of you who do know, we still are functioning in the program. We're just not plugged into it. You want to unplug? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I hope you subscribe. I'm going to give you great advice and guidance on how to make it through these next few years, because it's going to get real crazy out there. Now, I just want you to know that whenever I use, the sensational headlines and not as clickbait, but to talk about it, I get a lot of views. But as soon as I talk about really becoming an enlightened person, it's not that interesting. Why? Because the majority of people are plugged into the program. They don't want to hear it. They want to hear about their stuff. The ego doesn't care about awakening. The ego wants to get stuff, power, money, prestige, adoration, feel good, physically, mentally. It's plugged into the material world. And that's all it cares about and knows, because it's driven by the ego. The ego doesn't even comprehend the quantum field that is actually all power. Now, when you're heavy in ego, you're actually blocking yourself from going into the space where the real power lies, and there is nothing you cannot do in that space. Nothing. You could walk through walls. Now, that would take a while to get to that level, and you don't really need to walk through walls. But it would be possible. Why? Because you stop having barriers and limitations. Beliefs will stop you from achieving those massive goals. And that includes anything you want. You could win the lottery. Now, why do people win the lottery and they lose everything? I've actually coached some of these people. Because they're still stuck in the material world that they think is going to make them happy. So the results are loss. Does this make sense? Now think about this. I think I can win the lottery. I'm going to focus on this. I imagine it, and then of course you can create that event. If you can go into that space long enough without having the doubts, and you work on it, you can create it. But here's the problem: you haven't shifted your whole energy space. You, the person, haven't shifted into that space where that's just who and what you are. It was an event. So what happens is you lose it. You lose all the money. You go back and you're sick again. You lose the relationships, and because you aren't going into the space of unlimited manifestations. And that's what happens. They go back into who and what they really are, because they haven't changed the program. They haven't unplugged. They're still plugged into money will make me happy. They get the money, they lose it. All right? Does this make sense? So if you truly, truly want to do anything as a human being, Christ walked on water. That was real. Why? He was one with the energy field of all things. It wasn't that he was manifesting something. I'm going to bring this in. He just became one with it. It and him were all one thing. And it wasn't he was, making it do something it didn't want to. It's not separate from him. He knew this. He could create anything. He could manifest all things, but he did it with purpose. He didn't do it just to show off to people, although he did use some of his powers to show what he could do, but there was a positive purpose for it. So when you go into that high-level quantum field of high frequency, you're doing good, giving, love, compassion, positive intentions, and so there what comes back is more and more and more of that, but you don't care anymore because you don't rely on it to make you happy. Does this make sense? This is the ultimate manifesting technique, but it's not really a technique, it's a way of life. So what we have to do is we have to unplug. Now, how do you unplug from the program? That is really technically is unplugging from the ego and believing that's what you are. So you've seen the Matrix, right? There's this whole room of bodies that are plugged into these, some kind of liquid, and they're living out this whole illusion, and it's real. They're walking around, but their body is someplace else. That's what we're doing. When you unplug, you can go outside of your body. You can know things that are happening on the other side of the planet and in the future and whatever, and you can change all these things. They're interchangeable. There's no event that's going to happen in your life that's in stone. None. Including the next minute, and the minute after that, and the minute after that. So your future goes before you. And I said this in my last couple of videos. Here's my future. Why? Because this has created this, and this is what my future is until I shift this. So if I don't like that future that you think you're fearful of, you think everybody else is going to do to you, you have to shift this and get out of that beliefs and whatever it is you're doing here, over here, and you have to unplug. Because your ego is what thinks something else controls you, or has power over you, or creates your future events, and it doesn't. Now, we as a collective, the more of us that unplug, the more we actually create a completely new earth. That's how it works. And I literally mean unplug. I mean, you have to recognize the old thoughts, the programs, the stories, the blame, the poor little me, the names we give ourselves. Boy, you know, the medical industry is really great at giving your name. If your CO 10950 is down, then you have to have your NYX. But by the way, your 752BQ might need another medication. I'm like, who knows this stuff? What? And by the way, you might be suicidal, depressed, have heart palpitations, or build a nest on top of a roof and become a sniper. Yeah. I mean, this is really the kind of stuff they're saying, right? And we're programmed. We're plugged in. We go, okay, but I'll get rid of this rash. This is insanity. I want you to start paying attention to how much you're plugged in, to the programs, to the ads. So even ads on YouTube. You know, I have an internet business. We do planet conscious businesses. I train people how to do this. But you're going to see ads on here that say, if you're selling products over here, then you need to listen to me, because you're going to, and here's a check I made. I'm like, and what is that? Make money, make money, make money. This way, give money. It's this non-stop seeking that out there. It'll make me happy. That's the answer, that's the answer, and it's right here. You hold it. You can create any event, and the exact answer is going to come to you when you're ready for it. You probably had many, many perfect answers sitting here. I call them gifts. The gift comes, it could be a challenge, it could be an event, it could be a person, and if you're not paying attention, you're plugged in over here, you don't even see it over here. And that future over here is sitting there, and you have not created it, right? You haven't created it. You have to become that. So how to become that which you desire to live in? You have to break through the fear. You have to end the stories. And when you hear the story, ask yourself where it came from. Somebody told you. Your parents told you. The world told you. Media told you. And then you fight and argue over it. You're plugged into the conflict. Conflict is number one power for those who want to keep the public, the general public, in disempowerment. Watch them. They'll just, I told you, I mentioned the Twilight Zone. Aliens come, they're sitting watching us. The neighbor said, I saw an alien coming. Oh, God, Billy, don't be silly. He's putting a tin hat on his head. Foil. No, I really did. And then the neighbors are talking. Billy says he saw some alien ship come in, and lights flash. A car in a driveway goes on, and they all start to get paranoid. And then they're going to band together. They get the weapons, right? Fear. It's always the fear. This is how we act. And so then they turn some lights on and off again, do a couple other things in their spacecraft watching all this, and pretty soon what do? What do the humans do? They turn on each other, they start killing each other. What do the aliens say? We don't have to do anything. All we have to do, and this is what's happening here, all we have to do is get them to turn on each other. And that's ego plugged in to paranoia ego takes care of itself. So if there's anything, any paranoia, any story at all that's planted out there that you're watching, you will turn on other people that you think don't agree with you, that are the enemy. You'll call people evil. There's no such thing. Source is all things. So what are you saying, that that's wrong? Source is never wrong. It just is. And you and I are part of this crazy trip. Are you ready to unplug? I want you to start watching what you do, what you've told you're supposed to eat, what programming tells you, makes you want to go have a potato chip or have a soft drink, and it's all killing us. And then we're supposed to give money to organizations to heal these things that are caused by all this stuff. It's just this vicious thing. Unplug. Unplug. And you will find yourself going into a space of health and happiness you never imagined. You're going to be an observer. You're going to realize what you took on, and that you're going to watch the craziness. You're going to be in the craft watching the craziness. Say, wow, we don't have to do anything. They do it to themselves. But you are going to be the change maker. And so you're going to focus 100% on your purpose in this life. If you don't know what it is, come on over, I'll help you find it. Get busy on it. And when you're focused on that, you're not focused on the stories, the whatever you're told you should eat or buy, or what your kids should have. They're programmed too. Don't contribute to that. Unplug. Unplug. It's time. We are no longer in the shift happening. We're over in it. We're in the tipping point. And it's going to accelerate. Why? Because this ego-driven paranoia and events are going to increase. So as long as these events start happening out there, the ego kicks in and starts to go into conflict. If it's sitting there and it has TV and it's food, it doesn't care. But that's not what's going to happen. We're going to have all kinds of events out there that are going to cause people to turn on each other. And that's when the ego gets tested. That's when you'll find out who you are. Or you could come over here and be the change maker and say, what am I going to create on this planet? Because when that falls off and dissolves and implodes on itself, what are we going to be left with? It better be a compassionate, loving community that works together, that says we have to solve these problems. We have to create the energy, the health, the wealth, the positive mindset, letting go of the stories. You have to be the solution maker, and your purpose will be so clear, and you will benefit, and everyone around you, and you will step into this future that's beautiful, a golden era. You ready to do that? If you guys are entrepreneurial, I'm going to teach you how to create a planet conscious business, and you don't have to know what it is. I help you find it. Come on over. These are free. I think there's something you can click up here. If it says free webinar, you can click on that. Go in the description. It's called digitalexplorers.net. Come on over, and I'm going to help you break through fear. I'm going to help you to just look at what you're doing and how you're thinking and how you can shift it into something that's so massively beautiful, and it's happening right now. And it can happen today for you. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.